Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Leather History, a Fireside Chat. I'm Doug OKeeffe. I am the host and the producer of the chats, which are a program of the Leather Archives and Museum. Today, it's March 3rd, 2023, and I'm sitting down with Udi Taurus, Mr. Israel Leather 2019. How are you, Udi?
Great. How are you, Douglas?
I'm great. Thank you for making time today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
My pleasure. How is your Friday night in Israel?
Well, it's been a crazy week already with everything going on in our politics, but we're not here to talk about politics, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Not much.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start at the beginning. I know the audience would probably want to know a little bit about your growing up, a little bit about when you were with your family in your hometown. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, once upon a time.
Okay.
Well, I was born in the city of Safed, which is one of the holy cities of Israel, the city where Kabbalah comes from. And grown up with a traditional Jewish family, Moroccan oriented. Left to Tel Aviv at the age of 21, if I remember well, 1998. And since then, I'm here in Tel Aviv.
You said a traditional Jewish family. What does that mean?
Well, it's not religious, but it's not secular completely. Most of when I grew up, most of Jewish Israelis were traditional families, and not Orthodox, but then in between.
Okay. Can you give me an example what that means?
Well, for example, doing all the holidays, celebrating everything, believing in God. For example, in Shabbat, in Friday, Saturday, we have certain rules, the Jewish people. For not, especially the Orthodox, you shouldn't work, you shouldn't use electricity, you shouldn't use fire, etc. So in my family, we were watching television, driving the car whenever needed, but then never light a fire. So it's a different approach, but a lot of people do the same. You do some, you do some, whatever fits your beliefs.
Now, please tell me again the name of your hometown.
My hometown is Safed. We pronounce it Tzfat.
Okay.
Yes, it's a little bit north. It's in North Israel. It's a little bit norther than Sea of Galilee.
Okay.
And about 30 minutes from Tiberias, where Jesus was walking on the water.
Oh, okay. Now,
so, growing up there, it's a very small place. But then it's a very spiritual city. It's a very artistic city. It has history. It's 300-400 years old. So it has a mixture of the religious of Jerusalem and then like art village. A lot of artists were living since the beginning of Israel. Since the establishment of the country, there was a very, very huge core of Israeli artists in this city. So I grew up in between the small streets and the alleys, painting the same one that people painted before me.
How fascinating. You mentioned that this was the birthplace of Kabbalah?
Yes, this is the city that the oldest rabbis who established Kabbalah and practice it and thought about it. It's a different approach than the basic religion.
Okay.
It's more spiritual. It's more philosophic. And Madonna comes to visit sometimes.
Well, that makes it important, doesn't
That makes the city very, like, that's a spot.
Now, why did so many artists stay there?
I don't know actually what brought so many people. Well, when Israel established, this city was already existed. Arabs was living also there. So in 48, when most of the Arab citizens has left, when the country established, they left their homes and left the quarter that was empty. And a lot of artists start to settle in this place.
Okay.
It's problematic situation, to my opinion, in this time view. But then it was a new country. People left their homes. There was empty spaces, and people start moving there. Artists, painters, sculptors, building an art village inside the Arab quarter.
Fascinating. You mentioned that your family came from Morocco. What brought them to Israel?
Well, like every Jewish people that when Israel established, people came from all around the world, wherever there was a very big communities, they moved to Israel. Most of them, some moved to France. When Israel established, especially the Arab countries, didn't want, there will start to become a pressure on the Jews there. So a lot of Jews left the Arab countries. Some went to America, Canada, to France, and the majority came to Israel, to the new country.
Oh, okay.
And my parents came also.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm the youngest child out of six. My parents got married very early in Israel. They met in Israel. They were very young.
I see. Okay.
And build a family here.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Let's look at your coming out. When you were very young, did you have any idea of homosexuality?
I did start early. At the age of 14.
Okay.
But then I was super naive. That was the 80s in Israel. We didn't have disco here, so and especially in growing up in such a place that it's like a small village, start thinking about why me? You're blaming yourself. Why me? Why I deserve it? Why I need to be punished about something because it's so natural. That was when I was 14, 16, thinking about this. So my coming out process was a little bit different. I wasn't exposed to anything. For me, gays was something to be shy on, to be afraid of, not legit by all means. By religions, by family, you just heard stories about. If you heard about homosexuality in the 80s in Israel, it was also always, it was something so on the edge. You heard about prostitution, you heard about pedophiles, you heard about gays. You understand? It was so outcast that when I was at my 20s almost, something amazing happened in Israel. At 1908, we had, we call it a reveal or a huge transformation overnight. One of the things in our culture in Israel was that we always wanted to be a European country.
Okay.
And then in the 60s, there was the beginning of Eurovision Song Contest that brought, that Israel started to participate around 70 something, I think 72 or 73. And that was a big deal in our culture, especially back then in the 70s, to show Israel, to show this new nation, to feel a part of something bigger. And in Israel culture, Europe, until the end, until the beginning of the 90s, Eurovision is something big.
Yes.
It's a major, it's a proud for everyone to participate, to take a part, all the country. We had only one channel, everybody's watching it. It's prime time, 100% views. It's something big. It's like Miss Universe.
Yes.
Like sending someone to represent your country, but then it's not politics, but it's all politics. And in 98, we sent a transsexual.
Oh, okay.
And nobody even thought about it. Eurovision was going down. We start to take it less serious at the 90s.
Oh, I see.
And then we sent a transsexual from Israel, Dana International, went to Europe from this crazy place, Israel, being crazy always, just need to open news during the 75 years, it's always crazy. And at that night also, Maccabi Tel Aviv, the basketball, the Israeli basketball group,
Okay.
played in Europe for championship.
Okay.
And we won both things at the same evening.
Oh, wow.
And then for the first of all, a transsexual from Israel, from this religious small country, that gays were outcast all the time, won Eurovision, the most legit thing ever, the biggest honor people was having that time. And then on the same night, Israel won the Europe League championship on basketball.
Yes. Okay.
So a lot of gay people went to party in near the city hall in the big square, which we call Rabin Square today. And then a lot of straight people came to party because they won the championship. And those two communities clashes one to another.
Yes.
We won Eurovision, we won Europe Championship. Straight and gay people were hugging, celebrating at the same night. And that suddenly, it was okay to be gay. It was okay to be open. It was okay to celebrate. A lot of my generation came out this year, moved to Tel Aviv. It was the golden years of creating the community here.
How fascinating.
Which opens gay rights and the evolvedness of drag, and suddenly you start to see gay people on television, gay characters. you start to hear about gays, and now it's normal gays. It's not whores. It's not drug addicts. It's not the outcast of our society. Doesn't matter if it's gay or not.
Yes.
And this year was tremendous. Had a tremendous importance about how we accept gay life. And then you have another thing, that Israel is a very small country.
Yes.
So if we move out of our parents' house, then they're 30 minutes away, always.
Yeah.
You don't move and don't see your family years or a year and come back for Christmas on vacation or whatever.
Yes.
We are integrated.
Yeah.
And people always come to Tel Aviv to live freedom. But then it's become okay to be gay everywhere. I wouldn't say that we are this utopia for gays, but I remember when it was very difficult to show that you're gay anywhere else but Tel Aviv.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you have gay families living in different cities, growing their own children who they made in surrogacy or with joint parenthood, and you have Tel Aviv become very expensive and difficult to live in, and people move out, and it's okay. But then we have crazy problems today also, but that's different.
Okay.
Big government happening here, starting to play with freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. We see that all over, don't we?
Freedom is not you shouldn't take anything for granted. Not freedom, not openness, not acceptance. It's something you need to work daily basis in most of the world.
That is absolutely correct.
We have you see how the world is becoming global, but then you see how with all this openness and exposed, still you have crazy governments coming up and down, extremists,
Yep.
Racism or homophobic. It's the same. It's hating people of who they are,
Yes.
how they were born. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Arab, Christian, black, white, or all different person on this planet. Everybody's equal, and I believe that everyone should make their life at the most and be who they want to be who they are, and not hide anything.
I agree.
I've been lucky, been self-employed for the last 25 years, didn't need to give a damn on anything to anyone.
Good.
So only now that in the last year that I work in hospitality, I start to find myself maybe taking some step back, and I don't like it much, but that's tricky. That's behavior. It's not about who I am. It's maybe behaving differently in different places, but being an open guy, especially we're sitting here in fetish and talking serious topics. When people look at it only on the sexual habit, which there's much more of it than only men in leather and whips and floggers.
Yes. Yes.
I find out that it's about that what was established. That was overwhelming me in my first event when I went to Nice after my first election. After my election, it was the first event I went, and I was overwhelmed by how gay people out of the mainstream have tremendous respect to each other. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or 90. And I say 90, I mean 90. Daddy Ian is
Yes.
is an amazing example. I was
Okay, yes.
amazed to see how people treat each other, how people hug each other. It's like a huge international family that people will hug you no matter where you are. And it's not about sex events, it's about traveling to meet this family every time. And I think it's amazing and it's beautiful because, especially in the gay community, we have so much inner hate. We like to hate lesbians and we like to hate trans and we like to hate everything that it's not beautiful and model type, and we like to be mean to each other, which is horrible. I think everybody should wake up and realize that there is much more than just being gay. And being gay, and if it's okay for you, people understand that there's a lot of places that it's not okay.
Yes.
So don't take this freedom for granted. If you can go on hills in the middle of your city, yelling "Hey sis," and nobody throwing stones on you, then you're lucky.
Yes.
Don't take it for granted. Keep working that it will stay this way. Help other places that are not, that it's not legit.
Let's take a step back a little bit.
Yes.
Like all Israeli citizens, you served in the Israeli Armed Services, and you had an interesting time in this arena. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my service was short because I had the car accident just 1 month after my training.
Oh.
And well, I spent about a year in the army. When I went to the army, it was really at the edge when they start accepting gays fully. Okay. And being gay wasn't an issue.
Okay.
So for me, being gay in the army back then was a huge deal, a very big issue, because I was harassed and I was bullied and I wasn't out. And after 2 days in service, people got onto it like very quickly. I wasn't accepting myself, but then people saw me as gay and start bullying me for who I am without me even understanding that I need to accept myself.
Yeah.
So for me, service was a little bit hard, but I can proudly say that today the Israeli army is very, very, very pro every gender and everything. I think it's the most progressive army on this planet, approaching on how he's dealing with. It's not the gay community, it's every sexuality, every gender.
Yes.
The army is helping trans people to have the to have the change process. It's supporting it. A lot of trans men and women doing this transaction when they arrive to the army, because suddenly no one judging them. They're out of the families. They're open to the world. They are exposed to everything, and the army is very support of it. It also support gay families and officers that are gay. I know I have so many friends that are in different, I don't know how to say, different degree.
Okay, different branch.
Level. You have so many, even the high levels, you have gays everywhere, and it's okay.
Why do you think it's so supportive? Why is the army so supportive?
I don't know why it's so supportive, but it's much more open than because it's the, if I'm thinking about it, it's the core of our society here. Army is a major thing. Everybody goes to the army.
Right.
Must go to the army.
Right.
And we are a country who built after the Holocaust, and the army was established to keep us safe from our enemies and the people who want to kill us all the time. And it's the army is the core of the Israeli society. Every family has people that died defending this land. Every family has people that will serve, serving now. So it's a big thing in our life. And what's beautiful about it, that it's really accepting people from all around, and there's something clean. You get to the army and you get clean out of where you come from.
Okay.
It's like the entry to the Israeli society.
Okay. Okay.
The first step after high school, and you've been exposed to everyone, and you must deal with all these different faces, religions, traditions. So when you're doing training, you're 50 guys from all over. You have religious, and you have Arabs, and you have Christians, and you have secular people, and you have people from Tel Aviv or from some kibbutz at the end of the desert. So people from all over.
Yes.
And that's influence. And I think that's also what makes us very intelligent country, because we are very integrate in politics, in geography, from very young age, because you live it, you live this conflict, you live this life, you live this basic conflict between religion to democracy, to your history, to everything. It's a good reason why they call it one of the most complicated places on the planet.
I see. When you came out, though, it was after the army, correct?
Yes.
And you came out into the drag scene first.
I came out as a gay, but then I moved to Tel Aviv and started. I was exposed I like acting and performing, and I was exposed to, what really pushed it was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
And I started working in a drag club that was very good money for supporting my designing school and life in Tel Aviv. And surprisingly for me, I was good at it.
Why is
And I
that
was,
surprising?
no, listen, I'll tell you a secret. Not all the drag queens are great. But then we all beautiful. And for me, I started my gay life being a drag queen for almost 10 years, living the gay dream, I think.
What was your drag name?
Camellia Cortez.
Sorry, once again?
Camellia
Amelia.
Cortez. Yes.
Okay.
Cortez. Yes, like Cortez, you know Cortez? The Spanish um, the Spanish general,
Okay, Cortez.
one of the generals that was after Columbus was another general named Cortez. So
Yes.
anyway, it's based on
Cortez.
telenovelas names.
Now, 10 years is a long time to invest in that. Why did you spend so much time investing into that?
I loved it. I still love it. I don't do it much these days. I haven't done it in a long time. But my character's celebrating 25 years this summer.
How wonderful!
So maybe she'll come to visit. Who knows?
Oh, you'd be wonderful, absolutely.
I think parenthood and there was also drag was tremendous in Israel at the beginning of the 2000s,
Okay.
beginning of the millennium, and I think worldwide it went a little bit down until RuPaul Drag Race had revealed everything. It's like we have here an amazing new generation of drag queens who are so artistic and so different from what I did. So different from RuPaul Drag Race. It's
Yes.
queerness, gender fluidness. There's so many things happening these days.
Yes.
So different than when we did it 20 years ago. And I think it's beautiful.
Well, when you were doing it, though, what were you doing? Performing, raising
I
funds?
was performing, lip sync, doing stand up. I worked in a club named Diva. It was
Of course.
an establishment in Tel Aviv. It was the first time something like that was built. It was a drag restaurant with drag queens that served food
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
performed. But then the audience was straight. It wasn't. It wasn't built for the gay community.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
built within the gay community, but then most of our audience was like bachelor parties and birthdays
Yeah.
and the people that celebrate everything. It was come watch a show,
Yes.
and it was very fun. But then, like everything, things start to get bored. I think I think it's got to this point that there was so much drag around
Uh-huh.
that people needed to disappear to invent it again,
Yes. Yeah.
because it was so blooming that when I started, we started very small,
Mhm.
and then we become so big that we were performing in every high-tech company for big events, making money surprisingly very well out of performing one song on hosting this or that event. And then drag was in television, and within all this golden age of the establishment of the Israeli community. So it's really got to this point that you couldn't see it anymore. They were
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
We were everywhere.
Yeah.
And then also people stop making something new and being update of everything. So there was several years that it almost disappeared.
Mm. Mm.
I did perform even after I stopped performing in this club after 10 years. I did perform every year in a Woodstock event that was collecting money for HIV research and in the gay pride and major events. But during pride, but then that was it. And suddenly, a few years ago, you start to see this revival of, and also, if we were a certain type, now with social media and having a camera in your face that you can see every little detail, uh, it's become, I think these days, it's one of the most beautiful gender arts that exist, because people are taking it to so many different
Yes.
directions.
Yes.
And I'm glad and happy that it's receiving the respect it should receive, because drag queens always, and I think it's worldwide. First of all, I'll tell you, drag queens are the men with the biggest balls on this planet. To be a drag queen,
I would agree with you.
to be a drag queen, and to that people will think all the time that you're some kind of a whore and not an artist.
They are mistaken.
Yes, and
That's true.
it's got to this point right now that the one of my friends that was performing with me a long time ago is now doing drag in the Israeli theater,
Hmm.
which is amazing. When some young productions bring uh, some drag queens from RuPaul Drag Race to a show, and they are performing in them. When Bianca Del Rio performed in the biggest concert, classic concert hall in Israel, so it's amazing that they bring these arts into this respectable stage.
But one thing I haven't learned is, how did you discover the drag scene? How did you know that you wanted to do this?
I don't even remember, really. I remember playing with music at my mother's house, putting a towel on my head and lip singing.
I would have loved
Uh, it wasn't even about wanted to be a woman, or it's not about
it.
that. It's not about sexuality. We have in Israel, well, we had this show on television that there were four, and they were running for like 30 years. Every weekend. You have four men, very respectable actors, very good ones, and most of their and it was like Saturday Night Live, they like satiric and comic episode every weekend, and they did so many women characters, so many, that it was beautiful for me. It was appealing. It was, I want to be this old lady. I want to, and when I first time saw Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, I knew, I felt it. I don't know. Look, I'm talking about it, and I feel my hair is going like this.
That's beautiful, actually. That's
I, I, I knew I wanted to do that. I didn't know why. I thought I want to do that, and then I did it and discovered that I'm very good Barbara Streisand.
fantastic.
I have the nose, and I'm Jewish also.
Tell me how you discovered the leather scene. How did that come into your life?
Well, most of my older life, I've been a costume designer,
Mm-hmm.
and for years, I really, from the fashion side, I didn't even understand it was fetish, I think. But from the fashion side, I really appealed to leather. I wanted to have a leather pants for years. Since I was 20 years old, I wanted to have a leather pants, and it wasn't reachable even.
Okay.
You don't have it here. And I always loved the history movies and movies about gladiators or Rome or monarchy, and you realize there's a lot of fetish there. When you see historical movies about even from the 50s, you see one of the biggest actors wearing leather, playing a gladiator. It's very, I think, appealing to a gay man.
Of course it would be.
As much as Barbara Streisand, from the other side. But still,
It's true.
I don't have like a trigger. I know that a lot of fetish guys have a trigger.
Hmm.
Have something that happened. I don't know. Someone really like boots because something happened to him in his childhood with boots, or his father was wearing boots all the time, or I know I have a lot of friends that something triggered their fetish.
Yeah.
For me, there wasn't one specific thing. There was a lot of things that I really liked, and I think I think about when I was 35, I said to myself, there was starting to we had in our gay parties, we start to see this fetish thing happening, and you start to be exposed a little bit here and there because it was very, very rare. And I said, well, I'm a costume designer. I can make myself a leather. I can make a harness. It's not hard. I can make something. And I start making myself things. And then I start doing costumes to the gay parties, and I start doing that. And I start making my own things for myself and for my friends, and that's how I established my brand, which is more than a hobby than a brand, really. And I really enjoy doing it myself. Also, not going into the mainstream fetish thing that everybody is looking alike. Putting my own design and my own things, making it my own fetish.
Good.
And for years, I was dressing this guy and another guy, and then Tzachi approached me. Tzachi, who was Mr. Leather Israel 2 years before me, approached me to make him an outfit for IML. So I always worked with fabric, so I learned how to work with leather. And I start doing that for me and for other people. And also it's also awakened this. I always say I don't have fantasies, I have goals.
Okay.
So I'm not a guy who lives in a fantasy. I want something, I'm making it, I'm doing it. At least try it once.
Okay.
It's like food, you need to taste most of the things. So it's really aroused this. I call myself, for me, I'm not a sir, I'm a monarch.
Okay.
Yes, I really triggered by those absolute monarchs. When you see a movie about Rome and everybody are so sexy around in gladiators and wearing leather, and this concept of a monarch, a tyrant, it's different. I don't know, that for me, it's different. And it's made me even doing specific designs in leather that go to this direction and not just regular leather guy. And for example, when all my expose was the European community, but then I arrived to IML, and that's really overwhelmed me.
Let's visit that. Let's visit that. You were the fourth Mr. Israel.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to run for that title?
I was working behind the scenes for 5 years, and people always told me, Udi, you must go, you must go, you must go. And I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go because I was fresh father. My daughter was 2 years old when I start really working in the nightlife and doing this costume for the parties. And for me, it was another coming out. It was standing on for me, standing on I took it very serious, this position, representing Israel. So you need to be completely open and completely honest with yourself about everything. And it wasn't at this spot. I was afraid how people will react. If they'll see me on newspapers or whatever, if mothers from kindergarten will start telling me things. I didn't want that in my life. But then in 2018, I went with a friend of mine to Madrid Gay Pride. And I just wrote on Facebook, do I have friends in Madrid? And I got replied by the fetish community there. by an amazing couple, Hank and Janos, that invited me to join their events and march with them in the gay pride. And when I arrived there for the first time, I was in Berlin before, and I've been to parties, but it's different than you meet in a community, really. In a community event, they really hugged me in 20 minutes. And it was the first time I went outside in daylight with my fetish in leather. It was amazing for me. And I really, really wanted to, it was, I don't know, it's turned something in me, and I wanted to bring it back. I wanted to have this feeling at home.
Okay.
I wanted to have this feeling in Tel Aviv that I don't need to go to Madrid or Berlin or wherever. So, first of all, I decided that I'm going to run for Mr. Leather that year. I was overwhelmed with everything. And surprisingly, I won.
Okay.
But then it's also, okay, you won, Mr. Leather Israel. And nobody gave a shit about it here.
Okay.
I was the fourth Mr. Leather.
Mhm.
There was 3 people in the audience. And amazing judges, and the event was super, but still, we were very, very out of the gay community. Wow, but what? No, that's sex. That's a sex party. That's not connecting to anything social.
Okay.
And okay, I won. There was passing 2 or 3 days, and then I start to receive amazing love worldwide, not from Israel. Congratulations from I was shocked how suddenly there were 3 days passing, and I opened Facebook, and I have like 400 messages from all around the planet. People tagging me, welcome, congratulations. I was shocked. And then I went to Nice, what I was telling you before, and I was overwhelmed from that. And I said, no way that's going to remain a vacation. This is life. And I decided that I'm going to kick some of my friends' asses, and we start gathering at our homes, just wearing leather, watching a movie or doing something else. And from time to time, people joined us. And for the first time, we did a real event. We just crashed into a bar. We said to send a message to some of our friends, we are going to this bar, to this and that bar tonight, wearing leather and fetish. What, you crazy, blah, blah, blah. We came, and guess what? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, a puppy arrived. That's the first puppy I saw in Israel, and I was amazed. I start to feel this thing that you can have a community, and you can have this fetish life happening without putting it aside, without having the need to travel to Europe to do that, because it exists. You open Grindr or any other app and you see it exists, but then people hide it.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been there. Once you realize, because that's the misconception about fetish, I think. People think that it's only sex. And it's not, it's all but sex.
Tell me about your IML experience.
So after creating this club and starting to have a community, I went to IML. I arrived to Chicago. That's my first time in the United States. And I was in a shock. Come on, you go to, as a participant, as a contest, as a representing somewhere, you go in to IML, you see these guys from all around the planet, and then you start to see the difference between the communities, also between the fetish. Americans are very different than Europeans. Europeans are by the book.
Yes.
They are all black by the code. They really, really like that way. And then you get to United States and you see some guy wearing pink leather or purple, or you see colors, you see different shapes, you see different approach, you see women, which is only now happening in Europe.
Yes.
The last few years. You see how people, how there is much more than everything, how it is. I think that the only global civilization on this planet, the real global civilization is the fetish community, because wherever you go, people will hug you and accept you and show you the way and will talk to you, and that was amazing for me. Of course, I was so honored to represent my country, but then I see how everybody treated and talk about sexy things, and only with me, people start to talk about politics. And what do you think about your prime minister? What do you think about the conflict? So it's really put me in an ambassador spot that I was finding myself in so many kinky situations, start to explaining the Israeli view about this and that, which is also fun. Definitely my title gave me the realization that nothing is granted.
Right.
Your fetish communities, and I'm talking to your audience, your fetish communities exist 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. There are so many places on this planet that it doesn't exist at all. So, first of all, never take it as for granted. Support every place who needs the support. And it doesn't matter if it's leather, rubber, or whatever you want to be whoever you want, and freedom is fragile. So make the best out of it.
How did you place at IML?
What do you mean?
Were you number 5, number 20?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, all right.
I think I was 52.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say something about it, America. When you're making international Mr. Leather, it should be one of each country, not 50 from one and all the rest. No, I'm joking. But I don't mind, really. I get this thing about first 20 and the fact that I'm wearing this, you see?
Yes, yes.
And only, I don't know, 1,000 people on this planet has it, because they went there and they were studying on this stage with jockstrap, when I don't know who sang on the stage before, and being proud of who you are, no matter if you're looking like a model or you're looking like a regular guy, that is honor. Just being there, representing your place, your community, your country, showing other people that you can be whoever you want to be, regardless what everybody's around saying. And you know, they saying that the gay thing is squeezing. I say it's growing, it's changing. In Israel, we are very veg country. A lot of vegetarians.
Oh, I see.
A lot of pro-animal rights, and so I have this also. But then you have fetish guys who don't want to wear leather, they want to wear fake leather or want to wear some other things. That's why I also, with my friends, we decided to call our club Israel Leather and Fetish Club, because it doesn't matter if you're a leather man or rubber man, a puppy, a zebra, a bunny, whatever you want to be.
Right.
A drag queen, a lesbian, a trans man, a trans woman, I don't care. Everybody's welcome to our community, if they have fetish or not, because the community is bigger than everything. And love is bigger than anything. And once you teach people that everything is okay, so everything is okay, we are making the problems by ourselves when we say something is not appropriate or wrong. Or I see it about my daughter. I have 12-year-old daughter.
Yes, let's explore that a little bit. You maybe have advice that you can offer other parents in a similar situation.
So I've been taking my daughter to every gay pride since she was 5 months old. She went with her both fathers to the gay pride. She went with Camellia to the gay pride with a drag queen. She went with the Leatherman to the gay pride. You know, and even my sister tell me, what? Why are you taking her there? Does she see naked people? Blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, we are the grown-ups. We are saying what's wrong or right. Kids take things as they are.
Yes.
Of course, I'm not showing to my daughter sexuality things, but being a leather guy, there's more than the act itself. There's more than the sex.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In a drag queen and a leather guy, it's very similar. We are both carrying a flag by our appearance without carrying a flag physically.
Yes.
Being very gayish, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but being very gay guy, not giving a shit about anything, putting makeup and being femme or masculine or whatever, there's no wrong or right. I say expose your children to everything. They are exposed already.
Yes.
You are the parents. You should tell them what's wrong or right. If you're a gay couple and you have children, go with them to the gay pride. It's the biggest lesson they're going to learn.
Right.
Seeing a drag queen, seeing a puppy, and knowing that someone can put a mask with ears on his face and it's fine. He's not having sex on the street.
Yeah.
And it's fine to be with a tongue, like it's fine for Brazilian dancers in Brazil. Women to be dancing in feathers. It doesn't matter if it's men or women, if it's gays or not, if it's trans men, whatever. So that's made my daughter completely liberal and open and much more adults in her vision than the rest of her classroom kids. She doesn't think what's wrong or right. She knows she can love both or all. It doesn't, a funny anecdote. I went with my daughter last year to the gay pride, and she told me, I want you to buy me a flag. I said, what? I'm not going to buy a flag in the gay pride. It costs like 4 times. We have so many gay flags at home. I said, no, I don't want a gay flag. I said, what kind of flag do you want? I said, I want to buy the bisexual flag. And I looked at her. She was 11. I looked at her, what? How come? She said, because I'm bisexual. I said, I don't think she's even understood the sexuality about it. But then she said, I love boys and girls. I love them both.
That's beautiful.
So that's you put stigma on so many people, and only by raising children to openness, that everything is okay and everything is not everything, of course, legit, but there is much more than right or wrong. There is a variety, there is a range of people.
Right. Exactly.
If being gay is wrong, so maybe being Arab is wrong, or being I don't know, Asian or black or whatever. It's not, there's not wrong. We are different people on this planet. As we are different religious and appearance, we are also have different sexualities. And I think, our generation invented LGBT. Now there's so many letters that I think it's going to the future to become completely fluid. I already see 15-year-old guys saying now today, no, I'm not LGBTQ and all the rest. I am me. And that is, I can be whatever I want, and don't put me in a box or a frame telling me who I am. So that's also beautiful.
Now, what can international visitors expect coming to Israel?
Well, these days we have a lot of demonstrations and politic issues that I hope will be solved quickly. But then people that visit Israel will find a beautiful place with, very similar to the States, a variety of people, of nations, of ethnics. I think even more. My friend tells me whenever they visit Tel Aviv, it's so overwhelming. Every person you see is something different. Yes, because we are Jews that came from all over the planet.
Right.
And then you have immigrants, and you have Arab citizens and Christian citizens, and you have all the variety, I think, of this planet in this small place. So, first of all, Tel Aviv is very open city. Israel is open-minded country, surprisingly, to what a lot of people think. The fact that we are small and we're very family traditions alike, so that's even more killing boundaries, because so many people from different, doesn't matter if they're left-handed, right-handed, if they're from not left-handed, right-handed, if they're left or right, if they think different politics, you have gays and gay families from all around. So
how about the nightlife, though?
The nightlife is fun. You know how every place every major city you have a gay area? So in Tel Aviv, we own the city.
Oh, good.
It's not gay area.
Happy to hear it.
That's also made a different culture that we don't have gay clubs, we don't have gay bars.
I see.
We are integrated all around.
Oh,
We do have gay events in different, there is a club, so it's one night this and one night that, but it's very open, it's very warm, it's very kinky, beautiful people, and very sexually.
What's the biggest misconception about you?
About me,
Yes.
that people see an image and they think they know everything. But I'm not just a leather guy or kinky guy. I'm much more than everything. We are much more complicated souls than just what we wear. If I put eyebrows and makeup, if I put leather, if I put a hat, or it doesn't matter. Appearance, if I choose, just a few days ago, some guy texted me on Grindr and we were talking and he said, I see you're really into leather. Well, I'm not, I said to him. And then he said, good luck, bye. And I replied anyway, and I said, leather is my thing. What's yours?
Yeah.
So don't judge people only because of appearance, and you can see the most fetish guy ever, and still you don't know nothing about him.
Udi Taurus, thank you for being the first person from Israel to be included in Inside Leather History, a Fireside Chat.
I'm so honored. I'm so honored. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the Fireside Chat channel for more chapters in the history of leather. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe.